Connor Roberts will be going from Parkersburg to Naperville, great town, to swim at North Central College. During the course of his career with the Patriots, Connor helped the team win back-to-back state championships in 2022 and 2023. In the 2023 state championships, Roberts was a part of the 400 freestyle relay team who got a third-place finish in the final event of the meet to help them secure the state title. Connor talks about why he chose to go swim for North Central College.
The internet really didn't do it justice, and with the visit, it really displayed a lot of its opportunities, and the people there are amazing. The campus is beautiful, and it's very close proximity to that big city, Chicago. So there's opportunities that it offers there.